It is an honor, it is a privilege to welcome Pastor Mair to our service, to sharing with the children, soon the scripture, and then the sermon. And I want to say, and I don't, because I met her, I don't ever throw her name around lightly, but I would truly say that Pastor Mair, you are the Mother Teresa of Portland. I heard a yes. The confirmands know that. They've seen it for themselves. Anyone who goes on a walk with Pastor Mair will see that there's a flock of people who, as soon as they see her, they'll call out, Pastor Mair, Pastor Mair. And sometimes they'll be telling her what they need. They need a jacket by this afternoon, and it has to be a size, and it has to be the navy color to match, right? Or they will give her something, and they'll say, Pastor Mair, this is what I made you. I want you to have it. She inspires such love because she gives such love, and it's so evident where that love comes from. You can see it in her face. You can hear it in her words. She is truly blessed by God to do this ministry, and we are truly blessed to hear her this morning. Pastor Mair.
So, hopefully the divine will, and the author of the 22nd Psalm, will bear with me, because I want to rewrite with you the 22nd Psalm today, and with the words of the people that I work with. And we can realize, these words that we read, the stories that we read, I don't know about you, but sometimes they mean nothing to me. It's almost like I've heard them before, so I don't even really pay attention to what I'm hearing, or reading. And I just walk away, and I thought, I've read something that didn't change me, and they're supposed to change us. I think these words are supposed to change us. But that's a trick, you got to bring them into your life somehow. You got to make them really part of meat and potatoes of who you are. I can't do that a lot of the time, but every now and then it happens, and I'm really surprised, actually. So let me just bring the words of people that I know. I'm going to reread this 22nd as a psalmist wrote it. My God, why have you deserted me? Why are you so far away? Won't you listen to my groans? Come to my rescue. I cry out day and night, but you don't answer. So Elise is getting out of my car. We were trying to find her transportation to a psych hospital that she trusts. And so we were having some trouble getting a ticket and all this stuff to get her there. But she's getting out of my car, and she leans back in, comes out of nowhere. She says, I think God hates me, Pastor. Why else have all these things gone wrong? Why is it so hard? I pray, She said, I do pray, but nothing gets better. Chapter 6 and 7 say to us, I am nothing, far less than human. I'm hated and rejected by people everywhere. Everyone who sees me makes fun and sneers. They shake their head at me. So I meet Kim in the snow one winter evening. She's really pretty desperate. And when I stop and get out of my car and talk to her a little bit, she says, what can I do? I don't want to go back to that apartment. My friends are doing drugs. They get angry with me if I don't take them with them. I can't stay straight in that apartment. What can I do? I have nowhere to go. The psalmist says, you, Lord, you brought me safely through birth, and you protected me when I was a baby. From the day I was born, I've been in your care. You've been my God. So one day I meet Sandy, who's a walking saint. She's homeless. has some mental problems, but we all do, I think, actually. But sometimes a matter just of degree it is. So she says to me, Pastor Mair, I was sleeping out the last few nights. It's been very hard. Sometimes people in the shelter are overwhelmed with the energy and the amount of people and the confusion and the chaos, and they would rather find some bushes, or a doorway, back alley, where they sleep by themselves. It's hard to imagine that would be safer in their mind, but it is. So she says to me, I slept out the last few nights. It was very hard, but I prayed all through the night. I know God was with me. I don't know why I'm homeless, but I know God has some plan for me. You have been my God since birth. This woman knows it in a way I don't, really. The psalmist says, I have no more strength than a few drops of water. All my bones are out of joint. My heart is melted. My strength is like dried up clay. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth, and you've left me to die in the dirt. So I meet Brian. He's a chronic alcoholic, good-hearted soul, has never really found recovery at all in his life. He says to me, and he looks horrific this day, he says, I'm so sick, Pastor. I can hardly walk. He got out of the ER, and he said the ER, he was in the hospital for a few days. They kept him, but then they discharged him out on the street, telling him that he was dying. It's hard to believe, huh? That doesn't make a lot of sense in my mind, but that's what happened. And then he says, he looks at me and he goes, this time I'm really scared. I think he understands now that death is with him. I'm not sure whether he feels God has left him in the dirt, but he's pretty close to that feeling. Brutal enemies attack me like a pack of dogs, tearing at my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. My enemies just stare and sneer. They took my clothes and gambled for them. So I meet this young man. This was just a few weeks ago, and he says, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Last night they stole my bike and my backpack. I have no clothes. I have no ID. I'm not making this up. As I read it, I think, this is true. It's like I have to remind myself sometimes, when I'm not there, it's kind of like, this is outrageous stuff, right? It's just outrageous stuff. Don't stay far away, Lord. My strength comes from you. Hurry and help. This is a psalmist. He's bouncing back and forth, he or she, huh? Bouncing back and forth, angry with God, and yet, you are the foundation of my life. Back and forth, back and forth. So just the other day, I kind of turn around in this place, and there's this tall woman standing there, and she says, oh, hi, Pastor. I don't want anything from you, she said, but I want you to pray. Those are my favorite times. I used to be a closet prayer. I would never be somebody who could pray out loud. In the seminary, there were always people praying and, rolling around, and I was like, I was embarrassed, I'm not embarrassed to pray when somebody asks me now. It's just a gift, absolute. So I say something like, Holy One, you know this woman. You know her good heart. Like everyone I meet, you know their good heart, Lord. You hold them. Even though I can't understand, you hold them like you hold me and everyone else. So this 22nd Psalm here it's a powerful one. You can breeze over it, but if you don't, it grabs you. And the thing is, I think that you can rewrite it too. I think most people here could rewrite it. Where have you been, Lord, when such and such happened? Where are you, Lord? Why is it so tough? Why aren't you hearing my prayers? Don't you remember me? And something in me knows you've been with me since the beginning of time. Back and forth, usually. Back and forth. And then we're not just left with the 22nd, which I tell you makes me shake a little bit. But then we're given Matthew, We're given Matthew. Come to me, and I will give you rest. Do you believe it? Sometimes I don't. It's usually when I'm not praying, though. It's a funny thing. When I get kind of too caught up in myself, too much on my agenda, what I'm going to fix or do, I forget to pray. It's a very interesting thing that happens, and I don't think it happens just to me. Does it happen to anybody else here? I think so. So Jesus says, come to me, and I will give you rest. Take the yoke I give you, put it on your shoulders, and learn from me. I've read that a lot, and only recently, last year, I heard, learn from me. And I thought to myself, what have I learned from Jesus? What have I learned? What have I really learned? When I get out of the car, sometimes I picture his feet. I don't know if they're his feet, but an image comes up. And they're dirty. They're covered with dirt, sand. And he's got like an old ratty pair of sandals on. And I can get that image and I'll think to myself, walk with me today. Walk with me today because I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. But I can rely on you that you know. So that whole sense of reliance on him. Yoking is like a harness that you attach, At least that's one of the definitions. You put a harness on, which sounds pretty like, devastatingly difficult, oppressive, But if you think who you're yoked to, you're yoked to him. You're harnessed up with him. My burden is light. I think about that. Oh my God. Does that mean it's only light if I go to Bermuda? All right? I have a little stock fund that my son talked me into putting $2,000 in, right? So it doubles, right? And I go, oh my God, this is what people do. They double their money. This is unbelievable. It triples. And I am like in heaven, right? I'm watching myself go up and down with it. Then it drops back. And my Bermuda trip is off the limit. It's just gone right off. I just lost it. It's gone. But that's not what Jesus is talking about. He's talking about day by day, moment by moment, you are yoked with him. Surrender into him. Learn from him. And think about it. What are we supposed to learn? He lived a long time ago in a Roman Empire. Does any of it make any sense to learn from him? He got killed. They beat him up. What do you want to learn? Most of us don't want that happening to us, Learn from him. And then he says, basically, I am gentle and humble. This is counterculture. This is not America. Gentle and humble. And he is telling you, learn it from me. I think about that when I'm righteous, when I'm arguing with mainly my husband, and I'm right. Because we all know women are smarter and wiser than men. Anyway, I have to go to some humility that I can't even find some of the time. And Jesus is saying, I am gentle and humble. I love it. I don't understand it all. I don't know it in myself frequently. But I believe it somehow, that is the road of being yoked with him, gentle and humble. So you might want to just throw that out. Just think, what do you want to learn from him? What do you, in a sense, are hungry for that he can teach you? And it's a tricky one because, you know, our ego wants to learn a lot of things. It usually has to do with power and righteousness. Even when I think I'm being humble, I'm not really sure of that. You know, Ruth gave a nice intro about my work, right? First of all, I couldn't do it without hundreds of people backing us like yourselves. Second of all, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. It's true. You know, when I have interns with me, I'll say that to them. I'll say, let's keep awake because I don't know what we're supposed to do today. So I just would ask you to think about that. I think, for me, this is, that being yoked, harnessed with Jesus, would be a life active with compassion. Active. Wherever you are, you don't have to leave wherever you are. You don't have to go to Tibet. But compassion can grow in you and take hold of you, and you find yourself doing strange things. Really. But they're not strange. They're Jesus things. I think a path harnessed to him will make us love where there is indifference in us. When we feel indifferent, love will break through. Break through. One time when I first started, the pastor who I was working with, we tried to keep vision with each other, not leave an area that we didn't see each other, and she disappeared. And that was not like her, and I was kind of confused and a bit worried. And then I found her kind of like almost an hour later. And she had found a woman that we knew who had peed on herself, and she was sitting on the curb. And Karen leaned down, somehow she told me this later, and said to her, you know, would you like to get some dry clothes on? And Karen went into the clothes closet. There was usually nothing, and there wasn't anything that day either. And so she came out, and she didn't stop there. I would have stopped there. Well, there's nothing in the clothes closet. I'll get back to you on this. That would have been me. She helped her up, carried her to the nearest bathroom, put a sign up on the bathroom saying out of order, left the woman in the bathroom, took her clothes and went to the laundry, which was nearby, and washed her clothes and dried them. Indifference, it will break us into love if we harness with Jesus. That's all you got to do. You don't have to figure anything out. It's very freeing, actually. That's what I find. Just, Jesus, use me. Jesus, be with me. Jesus, guide my feet. Show me what it is to be gentle and humble in a society that abhors humility. Show me what it is. And help me be brave enough to do it and take ridicule if it comes. The other thing I think it looks like or feels like is you just don't want to neglect things. You have this feeling of not wanting to neglect things, people, creation. And so you feel kinder some of the time. Some of the time. I think you want also to bring mercy where there's oppression. It's just this natural urge. Jesus knew it. That's what he was about, wasn't he? He could feel the oppression around him, and he taught mercy. Mercy. And it's not really any different now. Our world needs mercy where there's oppression. So, good luck. Huh? And you can also always call me, because I get what it's like not to be able to come forth like I'm talking. Thank you very much.